Hello.
What up?
We're back. And this time we're not quite as tired as last week.
Yeah, things happen.
Mainly because we waited overnight to film this one.
Indeed.
So, we are going to be talking about Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 8, No One.
Can't believe it's already Episode 8.
I mean, we're just barreling through Episode 8. And that's really ironic, because it's the last Episode 8 we're ever going to get of Game of Thrones, because they've confirmed that next season will only be 7 episodes, and the presumed 8th and final season will only be 6. So, there we have it.
Still waiting to see if that actually happens or not. Like, they've confirmed it. I'm like, I feel like they're going to get to a point next year where they're just like, yeah, we need the other.
I'm wondering how they're going to do it, because it's almost like I don't know if like the next episodes. I don't know, because I don't know how much Dream of Spring material George R. R. Martin has shared with them, and how much of it is just wholesale. They're making it all up at this point. I don't know. So that's interesting.
I find it wonderful that the final book is clearly called A Dream of Spring, because I have a dream that we're never going to get that book. So.
Yeah, that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
So, a lot happened in the episode.
It did.
It was there was a lot of great acting. There were a lot of good character moments. Some nice reunions. A couple of big moments where characters who we haven't seen in a while showed back up.
I heard a humming noise behind me. Good.
And so there was a lot going on. I believe that the episode the episode started with Arya. The very first thing was Arya, and we see that Arya was apparently just being careless and stupid last week. Shame. If we had the bell,
dude.
Apparently Arya just was not.
I guess she was just like, I'm about to get out of here. The waif not gonna find me. I do what I want.
Yeah, and it was very odd, but I mean, it is what it is. So she got stabbed, and she did go see Lady Crane. Some people thought maybe she'll go to ask Lady Crane for help. And there was a really interesting moment towards the beginning of the episode where, after she's being nursed back to health, she's talking about like maybe going to a shy, that was interesting, and I guess that was just an interesting conversation that's not going to happen.
She was like, Essos is in the east, Westeros is in the west, but what's west of Westeros? She was like, nobody knows. I'm like, Essos is it's a globe.
It's a globe. It's
unlike some people, the world.
Unless this is Gods of Egypt, and they live on a flat alternate Earth.
Good movie though.
It was. So Arya basically, what we found out, I think something maybe for this video, unless you're opposed, why don't we just talk about everything that happened with that character at one time? Because I realized in one of our
it's
other
easier
videos,
than jumping around.
Yeah, I realized in one of our other videos we forgot to mention something important that happened with Jaime or Cersei or something, and I was like, that probably wouldn't have happened if we had just talked about it all at once. So we'll keep talking about Arya here. So basically, Arya is nursed back to health by Lady Crane. Lady Crane is then killed by the waif, because the many-faced god had demanded a name, and he would have satisfaction. The many-faced god would have satisfaction.
And then the waif and Arya went on a Terminator 2-esque chase sequence throughout the city of
I have
Bravos.
not been that frightened since watching a Terminator movie.
Dude, like, the waif would not stop. I was
she was on a mission. Meanwhile, how Arya is not just completely dead from, like, bleeding out, and I don't know.
She's a champion,
but as some people predicted,
and unlike her brother, she doesn't go down easily with knife wounds.
Right. She took a couple of good shanks and But
I guess that goes for both of her. Well, her brother and her cousin.
Oh, I mean, her cousin died, but
What's dead may never die.
That's true. So Arya goes and, as some people thought, what she was actually doing when she was running from the waif was leading her to where Needle was, where Arya had been hiding, and then she extinguished the candle, and this is where it all kind of backfired, because at the end of last season, the Faceless Men made Arya fight blind, and so for several episodes, she was trained to fight blind by the waif, and that allows her to get the upper hand. It's the only advantage she could get, is to fight her in the dark. She did it.
Not gonna lie, I love that moment, because I was like, oh, the waif done messed up now.
She killed the waif, and we didn't get to see it. I mean, it was a little bit, I won't lie, it was a little bit disconcerting just how it didn't show that, but I get it, because they were fighting in the dark, and how do you stage that? What does that look like? How do you do it without it looking silly? So I understand why they didn't.
Strobe lights.
That would have been really badass.
It worked for the outsiders.
It would have been bad. I mean, it did work for the outsiders,
except for when there was light outside.
I mean, we don't talk about that kid where everything went wrong. But so for those of you who don't know, I directed a community theater adaptation of The Outsiders that we were both also in.
He was Derry. I was too big.
And there were some hijinks that went on one show that I'm not proud of. But anyways, back.
We went for the Tony, though.
We went for the Tony, we really did. I'm glad Lin-Manuel Miranda and company beat us for everything last night at the Tonys.
They did not throw away their shot.
They were better. They did not throw away their shot. But Arya didn't throw away her shot either. So
it's true.
She took the waif out. And then
she didn't just beat the waif, though. She killed her. And since, the many-faced gods demanded a name, she removed the face and put it up where Arya's would have gone.
Wasn't that just really cool, though? Like, when Jack and Hagar goes in and he sees the face, and then Arya somehow less bloody and weak all of a sudden, is like, hey, look, you sent her to kill me, but I've killed her.
And he was like, and now a girl is truly no one.
And
she was like, and this was honestly one of my favorite parts of the episode. She was like, a girl is Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I'm going home. And did you notice that, as she walked away, Jaqen just gave a smile, and he was like,
yeah you are. I think that Jaqen probably knew all along.
Yeah.
That she wasn't. I think the only reason
this was just Jaqen's way of toughening her up so she could handle everything that she'd have to encounter on her way back home.
But I also think that when he gave her the coin in season 2,
that is downright terrifying.
Is I think when he gave her the coin in season 2, he really was just kind of saying, I think he considered her a friend.
Yeah.
And I think he really was just saying, hey, if you're ever in trouble and you need someone, come find me. And I think that when she showed up at the House of Black and White, I don't think that he really thought she was supposed to be there. I kind of think he was like, okay, well, we'll give her a shot because this is what we do. This is my job for the Many-Faced God, is to train assassins. But I think that it was mainly just about helping Arya get back on her feet and giving her a place to stay because he cared about her as a friend. So I think that smile was just kind of letting us know, she's going to be all right. Mission accomplished. Good on her. She doesn't belong here anyway. In the same way that later, it's mirrored by the way you see Jaime looking at Brienne and Podrick leaving, and he's kind of and he waves at them, and he's kind of we're not supposed to fight each other anyway. They're not supposed to be here. We're not. This isn't. So I thought there was symmetry there.
We shouldn't even be here.
Since
you brought Jaime up, let's just go into the Riverlands.
So the Riverlands. Okay, so we got the completion of that arc. Unlike some people were joking that Tobias Menzies was on loan from Outlander not to have any lines, they actually gave him quite a few lines.
Truthfully, he had more lines in this one episode than he probably did in season 3.
Yeah, and they actually gave him some agency. Edmure is just kind of a little bitch. He's a little bitch in the books. And they gave Edmure more grit. Yeah. It's like he's gotten.
Hey, being locked up in a prison for 3 years will do that to you.
And even though, we as viewers of the show, have come to really, really like Jaime, you can't be mad at Edmure for not trusting Jamie, for mocking Jamie. Like, I mean, I love that scene because neither of them were wrong. Like, Jamie was just being Jamie. Jamie was doing his job, and he was doing it well.
Jamie was like, I don't want to be here.
And he was doing it.
I want to be with my sister.
He was doing it as non-violent as possible.
Yeah. Although he did, and I appreciate that they left some of this dialogue from the book, and he was like, I mean, I will just arrange for your baby to show up, and I will launch it from a catapult into the walls of River Run, like, if this doesn't end soon. And I honestly think he would have done it.
I think Jamie would have done whatever it took.
Yeah.
I don't think Jamie would have ever wanted it to go that far, but he would have done it if he needed to. So I like their scene together. I love Brienne and Jamie's reunion.
Yes.
I thought that went exactly the way that it would. I think he was pleasantly surprised, but not like completely shocked that she succeeded. Because I think he had faith in her. I think that
I like when she tried to give him Oathkeeper back, and he was like, "It's your sword. It's always your sword."
I don't think there was romantic tension between them.
No, the way her heart's warming towards that Tormund Giants baby.
Yeah, but I do think that there is a definite mutual affection between the two of them. That maybe if this was another lifetime in another world, maybe that could grow into something else. Yeah. But they both understand their stations in life. And I love that moment where she's like, look, I'm compelled to protect Lady Stark's family. So if you do have to fight his uncle, I'm honor-bound to fight alongside the Blackfish. And Jamie was basically like, look, fair enough, you know. I like how Brienne was like, I thought it was very fitting that Jamie would be like, yes, of course, I will let you try to fulfill your mission because it will get us both out of this situation. And
honestly, if the Blackfish hadn't been so stubborn, it would have left my boy John in a better situation for next week.
I also loved Brienne and Podrick and Bronn.
Yes.
That was great.
Oh, man, that was good.
Oh, that was great. And the fact that, like, you know, Podrick is growing up. He's getting a little tougher. He's getting a little smarter. He's seen some combat now. And it's funny, like, you know, Bronn is kind of like that older, like the brother-in-law you only see every once in a while, or the uncle you only see every once in a while, who used to make fun of you for being a wimp when you were a kid. And as you get older, you know, he still likes to rag on you, even though it's clear he's fond of you and you're growing up, you know. Like, they had a cool dynamic. I like
Honestly, the only person missing in that situation was Tyrion.
Yeah. And I loved how Bronn was shipping Jamie and Brienne. Right. That was cool. But, again, that was a little fan servicey moment. We've had moments where, like, Brienne talks about how brooding Jon is. Jon himself talking about how brooding is. But I thought that was cool. I won't lie to you. I was shocked that the Blackfish didn't accept Brienne's proposal to escape with his army and go help Sansa. But it made sense for who he was. Yeah. And when he said, look, you know, she's just like her mother, you know, clearly he respected what she was trying to do, but he's like, look, I don't have the men. I know she wants to take back her home, but this is my home, and I'm going to die here. I respect that. Yeah. Like, I just respect it. I mean,
it wouldn't have been me.
No, it's not what I would have done, but I totally respect it. It made sense, and it made sense for him in his context. So when...
I wasn't that upset that he died off screen either.
Well, I thought that line that he had there right before he died was really cool. And I like that he had a chance to go with them and he chose not to. He chose to go down swinging. That was cool. I mean, I guess, you know, I'm reasonably certain that he is in fact dead. But, I mean, and Jamie had said, you know, a good death is all I could hope for. That is a good death. But it is worth at least mentioning that we didn't see him die. So maybe he's not dead. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna say that he is dead until we're proven otherwise, but I did see a couple of reviews online last night. They're like, maybe the Blackfish is alive, and I'll give you that. Maybe he is. So the River Run story wrapped up. Yeah. The Arya story wrapped up in Bravos. Things that we kind of... this was an episode of loose ends being tied up. And speaking of that, all the stuff in Marine...
before we go to Marine, since we're still in the Riverlands. Let's just
Oh
go
yes,
over
the Brotherhood Without
mountain.
Banners. Yeah. Okay, so the mountain, like, literally just shows up, like, and just starts wreaking havoc.
Kills 4 dudes.
It was great, and it was such a great bookend to last week, where the whole thing was like the plot of Unforgiven or some 80s action movie, like where the violent man is trying to, like, it was so cliched for Game of Thrones, like the violent man is trying to renounce his old ways, but then he gets dragged just when I think I'm out, oh man, back, or whatever that line is, like
just when I think I'm out, they keep pulling me back in.
Yeah. And that was so great, and so he kills all these people. It was really awesome. You know, like, you're shit at dying. Like, you know, like kept giving the guy a chance to say different things.
Because he's, like, first of all, he hit old buddy in the nethers with an axe. And he's on the ground, and he's like, F you. Because I assume children watch this, so, you know. And then he was like, F you. Those are your final words. Then he was just like, oh! And he was like, you're shit at dying. And then he just kills him. I'm like, what?
He just killed him. And then,
oh, man.
The coolest thing ever, though, was he comes across the actual Brotherhood Without Banners, hanging Lemon Cloak and his fools.
Our friend Zombies Ruin Everything will be happy that we actually did see
Zombies Ruin Everything.
The return of not only Thoros of Myr, but Beric the Lightning Lord Dondarrion.
He's back.
Who, let's be honest, if you don't read the books and you're just like a passive viewer of the show, you were probably like, who is this one-eyed piratey looking for?
But if you read the books, Beric Dondarrion and his merry band, they're like Robin Hood. They're like the Robin Hoods of Westeros. And they're really cool. I would watch a spinoff about the Brotherhood Without Banners.
I wouldn't go that far, but I wouldn't be mad if there were just a few more episodes that had them in it. You know, like, you know. Although,
like if they had epic subplot quests, like at least one episode a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like honestly, their main quest, I like it. Because they were like, you know, after they hanged the Lemon Cloak and those two fools, are like, we're going north, Clegane, the cold winds are rising. And I was like, I'm going to need y'all hurry up and get north, and even though you don't have that many people, assist my boy Jon Snow.
Also, so here's the thing. And I'm talking to my book readers, full spoilers for book and show, obviously.
Full spoilers? Not these half spoilers.
Not half spoilers.
Okay.
So I know that starting at the end of Season 3, and then in Season 4, and then last season, we've been getting teased with Stoneheart. We were teased so hard in each season. We were trolled on the internet by Lena Headey. We were trolled with the title Mother's Mercy last season.
That would hurt me.
We have been trolled so hard with Stoneheart, and we assumed, I assumed, look, the reason they're not doing Stoneheart is because they do not want to one-up Jon Snow's resurrection. Yeah. They don't want to tip their hat too hard.
I had always been working on the assumption that even though we don't see her, she's a thing, and she'll be sprung on us at a later point. Well, but with Beric being back, Catelyn's been dead a good 3 years at this point. Maybe only like a year and a half, 2 in Showtime. She would look. She would look rough.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think a lot of people were pointing out in other reviews I read, like IGN and HitFix, they were saying, well, look, Beric Dondarrion's ultimate purpose was to sacrifice himself to bring, in the books, was to sacrifice himself to bring back. And Catelyn as Lady Stoneheart. And Thoros, talks in this episode like the Lord of Light has brought Sandor here for a reason, and there's a reason that he's left Beric here so many times. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily know how that's going to play out. It might be that Stoneheart is on the show. It might be that Stoneheart has already been brought back and Beric just didn't die and they just haven't told Sandor that yet. Yeah. Or it might be that they have another origin for her. I don't know. It may be that it really could be that she's dead. But it is worth noting, we've cycled back around to the Riverlands for a reason. Yeah. We've cycled back to the Brotherhood for a reason. Mm-hmm. This is the season of resurrections. This is the season of characters returning that we thought were dead. Or that we haven't seen in a long time. So if ever there was a time thematically it makes more sense to bring her back now than it did at any other point relative to the show. So I do think, tentatively, that we will still see Stoneheart. I still think it's going to happen in some form. Now, if it doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be mad. But I do think that I just don't see. There was an awful lot of talk about Catelyn Stark in this episode specifically, and it just, I really want to see those Freys get hung, and I really want to see Freys die.
I feel like it's going to happen in the finale.
I think we're going to get Stoneheart in the finale. That's what I think is going to
happen. Because
happen.
if you remember, there was still that scene in the trailer that we haven't seen yet with Waldo Frey and a bunch of Lannisters around, and I assume that's just going to be in the finale in 2 weeks, and some angry individuals going to show up, and a lot of Freys and a lot of Lannisters, hopefully not my boy Jaime, are all going to die.
Yeah, because I think that what we're going to get, I think we're going to get the Brotherhood Without Banners, and Stoneheart killing Freys, and I think we're going to get Jon and Sansa killing a lot of Boltons. Now, so that was what happened in the Riverlands.
I've got a great segue with this because it's so smoothly going from one Clegane. Let's go to the creepy Frankenstein-y one in King's Landing.
Okay, so everything that's been happening in King's Landing for a season and a half has been Cersei's fault. As Elena pointed
out. She is stupid.
And it's all just sort of come to a head. But the funniest part about it is we thought, okay, her daughter was killed, Jaime's coming back, there's finally going to be violence. In this episode...
Because let's be honest, we haven't really seen violence in King's Landing since Blackwater in Season 2.
But now that they've hurt her, now that Jaime's gone off again, now that they've brainwashed her son, now that Cersei's backed into a corner, she is the dangerous, vindictive, evil.
Because we were all thinking, okay, well, the time for the trial is going to come. She's going to be like, I demand a trial by combat. Which I'm like, yes,
Clegane Bowl.
What is hype may never die.
Yeah.
And then she shows up in the throne room after Lancel and a bunch of the Faith militants show up, like, the High Sparrow demands you to return to the great Sept of Baelor. That's what Lancel sounds like in my mind, because I've never liked Lancel. Even back in Season 1, he was always an annoying little twit. But, and the Mountain is just like, and Lancel's like, tell your man to stand aside or there will be violence. And Cersei, God bless her, was like, I choose violence. And then we got some good old-fashioned violence when old buddy tried to attack the Hound, and then the Hound severely choked him out and then ripped his head off. It was like a Mortal Kombat fatality. I was like, he knocked old buddy on the ground, grabbed him like this, and then just rips his head off.
It was vicious.
That was good violence.
But we've been waiting for that, right? We've got little teases of it, but we've been waiting for this to happen. And when Cersei said, I choose violence, I'm like, thank God.
Right.
Because this is what we've been waiting on. Because only this show...
Season 6, in all honesty, has been lacking in the violence department.
Only this show could make us root for Cersei again this late in the game.
Right.
And
but then she gets to the throne room, and because Tommen's going to make an announcement, nobody told her, and Kevin is like, "You can go stand over there with the other ladies of the court."
What Swerve? Where you going?
Over there. True story. Loving me some Kevin Lannister.
Yeah,
he's good people. And then Tommen is just like with that nonsensical BS line that we've been getting since the Season 4 or whatever. The crown and the faith are the two pillars that hold the world together. And that is the biggest load of BS I've ever heard in my life. And he was like, and as such, if one crumbles, the world crumbles. Vis-a-vis, I'm saying all that to say this. I'm banning trial by combat. My mother and my brother-in-law, Loras Tyrell, will be judged by a group of Septons. And honestly, hilarious, But at the same time, now I actually am worried about Cersei. Because let's be honest, there is no way in any of the 7 hells she's going to be found innocent in any type of actual trial.
I think that what's going to happen in the finale is... we got that moment where she's talking to Qyburn, and Qyburn's like, so those rumors of things and stuff that we've heard are true.
And she was like, are they rumors or is it more? He was like, more. Much more.
Okay, so...
And let's be honest. We know.
The rumors that she's heard are that there are great caches of wildfire.
Caches.
That are hidden in the city.
And if everybody remembers back in Season 2, we've seen how much wildfire is stored in
Tyrion used it to defend the Red Keep during the Battle of Blackwater.
And let's be honest, he probably only used like maybe 5% of it.
And it's interesting because we saw the wildfire again in Bran's visions when the Mad King was burning them all, a few episodes ago. And so they've been kind of like seeding this with us, And in the books, there was a similar thing where Cersei burnt down the hand of the king. So I think what they might be doing is they're transplanting that here with the wildfire. I think that she's going to burn the Sept down.
Most definitely.
I think she's going to...
But I think it's going to get way out of control, and it'll go back to what we saw in the finale of Season 2 when Daenerys was in the House of the Undying, and she was in the throne room, and it looked completely burned to hell.
Yeah. I also think that it's going to get out of control. I think it might even kill Tommen.
Yeah.
I think that... So, yeah, I totally think it's going to happen. And that might be... Jaime might hear about that on his way back. And that might be what makes Jaime go, bump that.
Like, I'm done. I am done.
That wasn't the answer. I don't know, but he really loves Cersei, so maybe not.
Speaking of queens that like to just set things ablaze, let's go to Marine.
Okay, so we've all just been kind of waiting for the hammer to fall on Tyrion's stuff all season, right? Yeah. So, look,
let's be honest.
Tyrion was out of his depth.
It was a great idea. It wasn't going to work.
Tyrion was thrust into an impossible situation. He was doing the best he could, but he was out of his depth. It was just like with Daenerys being out of her depth. Neither of them were really equipped to deal with the politics of what was happening in Meereen.
It's very true.
And I think Tyrion's ideas were good. He's just dealing with just evil people. And so, whereas he's used to dealing with lords that are treacherous but will think of their own self-interest, these people in Meereen are just like... They're so single-minded about their slaves that...
Right.
They're
like, nothing else matters. Like, we want our slaves.
So they started... There's this epic siege, but before we get to that, there's like a really nice moment where he finally gets Grey Worm and Missandei to start telling jokes and drink a little bit. And that was really cool, and it was a payoff from an earlier scene this season that we thought was maybe a throwaway,
Yeah.
And so that was cool to see that there is character development. It was really great to see Grey Worm smile. It was nice because and of course, then it all has to go straight to hell. The siege looked really good.
Dude, it looked so awesome.
It looked really good. And of course, the big moment, and it's almost like none of the reviews I've read have mentioned it, but I think it was supposed to, I don't know if it was the way they shot it, but like, it was supposed to be kind of the big moment of the episode, I think.
Yeah.
Is Daenerys returns.
Yeah.
With Drogon and her Dothraki horde. And so she's back, and just in the nick of time.
Yep.
And, the Mad Queen is here to save the day. So here's what I think's going to happen. Was that everything that happened in the show?
Yeah.
I think so. Quickly, so we don't want the video to be too much longer, but quickly, I think next week we got the preview. Next week is titled Battle of Bastards. It's going to be the battle for the North.
Look, I know a lot of people are excited about their Clegane Bowl.
And I'm gonna
watch the Clegane Bowl.
But the Bastard
Bowl. This
Bowl,
is everything I've been waiting for.
The Bastard Bowl is more pressing. We're going to get this. It's going to be really interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. Ramsey is one of the creepiest, most like vile villains in TV history.
Honestly,
I don't know what's going to happen.
I feel like through the skin of their teeth, John is going to find a way to like snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
Well,
because I feel like the Knights of the Vale are going to show up.
Mhm.
I still maintain that I think the Umbers are going to like turn on Ramsey.
Well, I think that houses will start rallying to the cause when they're seeing what's happening, when they're hearing what's happening. And it's like, the beacon is lit, like, Winterfell calls for aid. Like, I think that's going to happen. And I also think, the Knights of the Vale will show up in the clutch. I think you were going to find the worth of people like Davos Seaworth and Tormund Bane. I think 1-1. I think there's going to be a lot of epic wildling action. And I also think that we're going to get a lot of balliness from those 62 fighting men from Bear Island. Mormonts are fierce.
I get the feeling that while there will be a lot of people that die, all 62 of the men from Bear Island don't make it out alive.
I think it's going to be the most exciting. It's the most expensive battle they filmed. They said it's just like Blackwater or the Battle at the Wall. It's just like a whole self-contained episode about the battle.
I feel like by the time it's over, the only men Ramsey is still going to have on his side are going to be the Boltons and the Karstarks.
Yeah.
But
they can go to the Seven Hells.
Yeah. I'm excited, though, because you remember that article from earlier this year when Kit Harington was like, yeah, filming it, and I got surrounded by a bunch of people, and I was like, it's nothing, Jon Snow. You're the nephew of Lord Eddard Stark, and you're the son of Prince Rhaegar. You good.
Yeah. So I think that, next week is going to be...
And unlike Rhaegar, you don't have your trusted knights with you in your big battle. You're not going to have them all protecting, their women's and their kids.
Next week's going to be intense. So, but
I do think Ramsey's going to get away, though, because he's a cockroach.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be a clean cut. I think Ramsey's going to still be around.
I think Ramsey's going to get away. Jon and Sansa are going to retake Winterfell. They're going to see Bran. I mean, not Bran. Although, who knows? They'll see Rickon, who...
At this point, the way people teleport, they might see Arya.
That's true. It is true.
And then I think, and we'll save some of this for like next week. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I do think in the Winds of Winter we're going to see Cersei burning things down. Yep. I think we're going to see Daenerys put that siege down, and I think she's going to.
I think we're going to see the Marinese slave masters get screwed when the dragons show up, and they can't retreat because the Greyjoy army has showed up. Also,
and then I think they're going to turn their eyes for Westeros. I think we're going to see Stoneheart and the death of some Freys. And I think that we're going to get some teases for where other characters like Arya will be next season. So that's what I think is coming up.
And I think we might see the return of one Jorah Mormont.
We might.
Who, at least I hope, he went to Asshai.
That'd be really cool.
Because if you remember back in season... It always goes back to season 2 of this show. Quaithe, the Shadowbinder, was like, all those who pass by the Doom must first go to Asshai and they need enchantments or whatever, so... Yeah. Although I have a feeling that the cure for Grayscale is just fire. Just gonna, burn his arm. It's gonna be fine. Because, why not? Fire cleanses everything.
Or a magic dragonglass dagger that seems to create and destroy White Walkers. But so that is all for this week.
It is.
Hopefully, everyone tunes in. We have 2 more reviews, and then we'll figure out something else to do.
We're gonna go bungee jumping.
Yeah.
Gonna see the world. Everyone, don't forget to purchase your copy of A World of Ice and Fire.
Amazon.
I'm going to plug this until somebody officially is like, let's just pay these fools to play that book.
Right.
Oh, also, we made it through an episode without any horrible puns. And I know what you're thinking. That was pun intended.
Well, everyone, I have enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did too. We'll see you next week for the Battle of Bastards. And
It's gonna be legit.
It's gonna be legit.
I was trying to think of anything to say, but I've got nothing. We got this episode in like less than 40 minutes. So
we did. I've got nothing. And
in the end, there can be only one. I don't think
there'll be or no one. So
don't be so hard on yourself, man. You're somebody. Auf Wiedersehen.